Previously on Doctor Who Reviews.
I may have spoiled myself with a few episodes later on in this series. I am still looking. There's one episode I'm looking forward to that might top this, though.
I know a couple of episode titles.
I know the one that he's referring to, but we really cannot talk about that.
We're both talking about 11, right?
I know the title of 11, yeah.
We can't talk about it means we can't talk about it. Thanks, guys. I'll say one thing and then we've got to move on. Yes, it's that episode you mentioned. I'm saying nothing else about it.
It's going to be so good.
I'm more excited about the episode after the next one.
You can't talk about that.
I want to talk about it!
Save it for next week. Presently on Doctor Who Reviews.
Guys, it's time! Where you guys at? Rainiac? Fresno? Hell, I'll even take Cat right now. Guys?
What do you mean it's time? What are you talking about, Kuchiri?
Yeah, heaven sent! I've been wanting to talk about this episode for weeks!
You were loud enough to wake the dead, Jesus.
Holy shit.
Wait, was that the vague screaming I heard the night it premiered?
Oh, it could have been.
Probably.
I heard it all the way to the UK. It wasn't that vague.
You made the dog bark. I can't believe it.
My scream was so high pitched, every single dog in the word balk once.
You can't believe he's done this? Anyway, yeah, as you probably guessed from Kuchiri fanboying like crazy, it's time to talk about episode 11.
Oh, the episode.
Heaven Sent. The episode that Kuchiri's been waiting to review for the entire goddamn series ever since he found out what it was about.
Yeah, I'm horrible and I spoil myself that way.
Really? Wait. What did you read exactly? What exactly did you read about this that made you go, holy shit?
So Moffat, back before I think it was 2 weeks before the first episode came out, he did each episode in his own words. And his own words, well, he actually combined both 11 and 12. 11 was basically the Doctor is going to be by himself trapped in hell for 45 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he explained that, he did, there's some sort of weird poem. I'm going to look for the poem while we do this. But I don't know if it was, it kind of doesn't spoil episode 12, but I'll look,
Why don't you look at the poem while I do the synopsis of the episode? How's that sound?
Shoot it up. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is going to be quite a hard synopsis to do because of the very nature of the episode, but I'll do my best. So we open, the Doctor is transported into a large castle. He's being stalked throughout this castle by a cloaked creature known as the Veil. The first time the Veil catches up with the Doctor, he has to admit that he's afraid of dying. The Veil backs off, the castle rotates, and the Doctor is able to escape. He then finds himself in a bedroom, complete with a faded portrait of Clara hanging on the wall. The Veil attacks him again. This time the Doctor throws himself out of the window and ends up in the water below. And while he's leaping, he has this sort of inner monologue that can be seen by the audience, and his inner monologue is the Doctor inside the TARDIS answering questions on a chalkboard written by Clara. When the Doctor regains consciousness from his fall, he finds a lot of skulls at the bottom of the lake and deduces that he's not the first person to be trapped here. He goes back to the castle, sopping wet, and finds a spare set of clothes, identical to the ones he's already wearing, laying for him by the fire, so he puts them on. He then finds a shovel and a grave. He figures out he's supposed to dig up the grave and find something. He eventually finds a stone that says bears the message, "I am in 12." And then he's attacked by the Veil again as it bursts through the goddamn grave to attack him. This time, his confession is that he didn't run away from Gallifrey because he was bored. He did it because he was frightened. And this is enough to make the Veil back off a second time. The Doctor realises his task is to search for room 12, but he can't find it. He realises the reason for this is because the rooms keep resetting constantly as he's searching for it. He returns to the teleporter room that he began his journey in. He finds the word bird written in sand next to a skull, which he picks up and carries around with him. He eventually climbs to the top of one of the towers of the castle to look at the stars, and he reckons that he's travelled 7,000 years into the future. This part will become important later, even though the teleport didn't transport him through time at all. He puts the skull on the ramparts, the Veil sneaks up behind him yet again, and this time his confession is he knows what the hybrid is, and he's afraid of it. The castle moves again, and the skull falls from the castle battlements into the seabed to join the others. So now room 12 is open, and it leads to a wall. A large wall of a substance known as absanthium. Absanthium, yeah. A substance 400 times harder than diamond, he says, with what appears to be his TARDIS waiting on the other side. He realises the bird clue is to remind him of the story of the Shepherd Boy by the Brothers Grimm. Then the veil appears, traps the Doctor between it and the wall. The Doctor realises that to remove the wall, he needs to confess one last time all about the hybrid. He retreats into his inner TARDIS and starts to break down, wondering why he can't just lose for once, but then Clara appears and tells him to get up. So the Doctor starts punching at the wall while talking about the tale of the Shepherd Boy. The veil catches up to the Doctor and burns him. And doesn't just injure him, fatally injures him. Burns him horribly, and then teleports away. The Doctor is fatally injured, but claws his way back to the teleporter room, and here's the kicker. He realises there's a version of him still inside the hard drive, exactly as he was when he first arrived here. So he uses his own life force to power the machine, writes the word bird on the floor, and then disintegrates, leaving behind just his skull. And then a fresh Doctor arrives in the room, repeats his dialogue from the start of the episode about Clara being dead and all that. And from there, the events play out over and over again on a loop. But the Doctor keeps wearing down the wall a little bit each time, then gets caught by the veil, and then sacrifices himself. After 2 billion years have passed, the Doctor finally manages to punch a hole through the blasted thing, revealing sunlight. The veil collapses into mechanical gears, and the Doctor is able to escape. He finds himself on a desert planet. The gateway he's just walked through is revealed to have been his confession dial the entire time, the confession dial also containing the castle he was trapped in. Then a little boy shows up, and the Doctor tells him to tell them that he's back, and he knows what they did. The boy runs off, the camera pans out to reveal the Citadel. The Doctor is back on Gallifrey. And then, to finish off the episode, the Doctor addresses somebody unknown, saying they've got the prophecy wrong. The hybrid is not half Dalek. Nothing is half Dalek. The Daleks would never allow that. The hybrid, destined to conquer Gallifrey and stand in its ruins, is me. End of episode.
Holy hell.
Holy hell is right.
I did nothing but find this poem all throughout the last few weeks, and now I can't find it at all. What the hell?
You'll find it eventually.
I'm trying so hard to not scream about this episode because oh my god.
We're gonna be
It's
screaming.
hard, isn't it? It's just so brilliant.
Oh god, it's great.
And this also confirms what Dr. 8 said in the movie.
Oh no, we don't know that yet.
We don't know that for sure.
Also, go fuck yourself.
But as good as this episode is, it does leave us with a bit of a problem, because how on earth do you review in our usual format an episode that could just contain one character, mostly, and a monster? And we've come up with a way of doing it. So let's start, as we always do, with the Doctor.
Oh my god.
Not considering that he's the only character in this episode. He has to be, oh my god, this is awesome.
It's more than that, though, isn't it? I mean, we've got Peter Capaldi being asked to basically carry an entire episode for 55 minutes by himself.
Yeah.
And he does it.
He totally does it.
He does it. No questions asked. All I have to say about this really is just give him the BAFTA already.
Give him an Oscar. I know he's not doing music. Give him a Grammy.
Hell, can we invent an award to give him later?
Sure.
That's how good Peter Capaldi is in this episode. His performance is just absolutely incredible. He goes through the full range of emotions. I mean, he goes through sadness, he goes through depression, grief, arrogance. If there's an emotion there, basically he exhibits it at some point in this episode.
He also kind of pulls out, other doctors. The Doctor, let's see you now, stuff like that.
Who's that pulling out?
He pulled out Smith from whenever the Pandorica.
I didn't really get that impression, but okay.
Well,
If you say so.
The way he throws out his arms and does in a sing-song voice. It's the same tone that Smith used in order to call out the bad guys.
It's not the first time we've seen Capaldi echo other Doctors. I mean, he's done Baker before, Tom Baker. Like, intentionally done Tom Baker. I didn't really catch that in this episode, but if you did, then fair enough. I'm not going to say you're wrong.
I didn't catch that. Tom Baker.
I didn't catch Matt Smith at all, but if that's what you saw,
well,
more power
for that
to
one
you.
line only. For that one line only, I mean.
I caught that the line was a line that Matt Smith has said, but it didn't really seem like he was emulating Matt Smith.
Well,
but
the way he throws out his arms and spins around.
No,
okay.
Didn't catch that, but okay.
That's fair enough. Fresno, I think I know what you're going to say, but what do you think of the Doctor's performance in this episode?
Fantastic. Absolutely goddamn fantastic. But of course, all of that is tied into the ending, and as we so often say, we can't talk about that yet.
Oh, to hell with that.
If you want to talk about one thing. Carrying something by yourself, either in a monologue or in a scene, is extremely difficult. The fact that he had to do it for, how long was this again?
55 minutes.
55 minutes. The fact that he did it for 55 minutes and succeeded is just... Can we just have Capaldi for the rest of eternity as the Doctor?
I would love that.
Just forever Capaldi.
Yes. I mean, the problem with that is that the show has to evolve, and therefore, eventually, even an actor as brilliant as Capaldi would probably get stale.
I mean,
after 10 years.
Well, look what happened to Tom Baker.
Yeah, David Tennant and...
No, David Tennant was only like 3.5 years.
Yeah, but if he continued more than that, I think he would have got stale.
I thought he was stale to begin with, but that's just me.
Oh, no, we're not going to get into Doctor Wars.
Colin Baker was the best. He should have had a run.
We're not getting into Doctor Wars. This is not a James Bond, who's the best Bond podcast. What the hell?
Yeah, because the answer is obviously Timothy Dalton. Come on.
Yeah, it is. I'm not disagreeing with you, but...
Craig's two good movies is... Yeah. Fucking Skyfall for life.
Yeah, but we're not talking about James Bond. Sorry for the tangent there. No, I don't think there are enough superlatives to describe how good Peter Capaldi is in this episode. As you say, he carries it by himself. The whole point about running the whole range of emotions. And he's just so utterly compelling to watch. I mean, you find yourself drawn to what he's doing. And I don't think to say any other actor couldn't have carried this off is unfair. I'm sure there are actors out there that could do this. But I can't think of them. Is that a fair critique?
I actually would want to see, I now want to see them do something like with Tennant by himself or Smith by himself. Just to see how they were acting their own perspective ways. And
David Tennant, I think, could pull off by himself just about. Matt Smith, I'm not sure about.
Matt Smith, I could see a lot of jump cuts of him being bored, bouncing balls off walls and shit.
Yeah, and I don't think that would have worked for the episode. But that's really all we can say about the Doctor, because the entire episode is the Doctor. It's about him. And he almost is the episode.
There's also a bunch of themes that mirror from the Doctor.
Yes, they do.
I think someone said the secret word.
You said the secret word, goddammit, Kuchiri.
This is not Pee-wee's Playhouse. There is no secret word.
Quick, someone get a bucket of water and douse Fresno with it. You just said the secret word.
Sorry, all I have is a bucket of acid. Will that work?
Oh, God, no. No. No, where'd you get that from?
You know what? Let's just keep going.
You declined to answer on the grounds it may incriminate you, was that it?
Let's just keep going.
Okay. Anyone got anything else they want to add on the Doctor?
This was probably the best.
He's super strong. He's super, super strong.
Oh, you mean him punching through the wall?
Yeah. There's actually been people since the episode that did the math on how long it will actually take a regular guy to punch through a wall that's stronger than 400 times stronger than diamond. And the final math came out to 14 billion years.
Somebody actually did maths on this scenario of someone punching through a wall that doesn't exist, of a element that doesn't exist. All I can say is some people got far too much time on their hands.
Well, the thing is, like, they pointed out that there was a lot of research done on the strength of diamonds by the crew. So, like, if it was clear, then it would have been impossible to punch through. The reason why it was super foggy meant it was a lot weaker than what...
My counter to that, by the time we got the 2 billion years into the future, that sequence was already starting to get a little bit repetitive.
My counter to that, who gives a shit, it's a TV show about a magic
It's also acceptable as a counter. It's also perfectly acceptable as a counter.
Time Lord bones are 7 times stronger than human bones there.
Apparently he's got adamantium in his fists or something, because he didn't break his hand.
Oh no, he did. His hands were bloodied.
He didn't break it though, because he kept punching.
Yeah.
Maybe
he would probably still keep punching, even if his hands broke.
No, if you break your hand, you cannot punch anymore. Or not effectively
What would have been
anymore.
cool if there was like a part where like a piece of it fell off and then he used that piece to continue like actually breaking the diamond.
No, it wouldn't. I'm sorry.
Either way, the doctor got cut someplace. It was more than likely his hands, and then he crawled his way back to the room and he killed himself over and over.
What's more dramatic for the audience? The doctor using a pickaxe that happens to be lying around, or a piece of the wall to chisel it away, or the doctor punching through a wall with his bare hands.
Also, the doctor punching the wall fits thematically with the shepherd boy fairy tale thing.
It does. I mean, technically a pickaxe would too, because it's still wearing it away. But I prefer punching it.
I think it's less that and more the fact that everything kept repeating. We didn't really see any variation in the events. So everything he did went exactly the same way. Everything the Veil did went exactly the same way. So,
with the exception of the story being told a little bit more each time.
There's a reason why I like that, but that comes to the ending again, and I'll get to it.
Okay.
But there is a reason why I like the fact that the episode always ends, the cycle always ends with the doctor punching the wall and dying.
And also punching the wall is a symbol of frustration.
Oh, yeah.
If you're punching a wall like in real life, if you sit up punching a wall, it's because you're super angry. And your only way, metaphorically, of alleviating that anger is to punch a wall.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, he is the bad cop.
It doesn't mean, by the way, that someone's actually standing there in Great Britain now punching a wall to alleviate their anger. It's just a metaphor, but it works.
Do it, Rainiac. You beat the shit out of that wall. You tell us.
At least the wall can't fight back particularly well.
Well, it could break your hand.
Yeah, it could break your hand or fall on you. You know what? Let's move on.
Unless you're the Spider-Man villain, the wall. Then...
Let's move on.
Unless you're the Final Fantasy boss of the wall.
So the Veil, Kuchiri.
For the third time, let's move on to the Veil. This is our monster for the episode. What do we all think of the Veil?
I love it conceptually because it basically sort of appeals to one of my favorite things. Kuchiri, go ahead. What do you like?
I was going to say it mirrors all of the Doctor's fears into one single being.
Well, that's part of my thing is it absolutely does that. And you know what inspiration do you know what that makes me think of? That makes me think. That makes me think of Stephen King's It.
Okay.
Which is actually one of my favorite like horror novels ever.
That's not quite what I expected you to bring up.
No, but it's totally the same thing. The Veil is basing itself off of one of the Doctor's childhood fears of this old lady who died and the flies came at her, and he had nightmares for weeks. The Veil is basically just scanning his head or whatever, and pulling out this primal fear and just coming at him with it to dishearten him, to scare him. It's trying to kill him, yes, but it doesn't want to eat him like it would. But the same thing. It's the same basic thing, and I really like that.
Of course, there is the question of, did they actually want the Doctor to be killed, or did they know that he was going to figure it out, go back to the room, and essentially rebirth himself over and over again?
I've got a theory on that. I've got a theory on that whole wall punching scene when we get to that.
My assumption is they either expected him to give up the goods on the hybrid or get killed.
Yeah.
But if that was true, why would they have a copy of him on the hard drive of the teleporter?
Well,
I don't think they intended that to happen.
I think that was just
we
a side effect that he exploited.
We will get to that when we actually talk.
Think?
Go on.
I think they left that there specifically so that should he die, they could bring him back.
No, they brought up how there's a copy of you in any teleport and like episodes. I don't remember which episode, but
that's not strictly about the veil, though, is it? I mean, that's more about the
but
we're talking the masterminds. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about teleport, but like every teleporter, like in the Doctor Who.
I'm saying in relation to the veil, even if the veil did kill him, which it did several times, I think that they had that backup and they didn't erase it because they probably could, simply because they wanted to make sure the Doctor would tell them the truth.
Yeah, and the thing about the veil, the whole thing about the veil is, it's basically a representation of fear, is it not?
Yeah.
It's just an amalgamation of fear, and as Fresno has said, it's based on this old lady that died, presumably back on Gallifrey, and they covered her corpse with veils, and that forms the visual basis for this creature based on fear, and also the fact that you've got to tell it confessions to get it to back off.
And what's even funnier is how it actually acts like a horror movie monster. It walks really slow.
A little bit of background on the veil in terms of how it was played. It was played by Jamie Quarrell Reid. That name should be familiar to you.
No.
Reid Quarrell.
He was the snake man.
Sorry.
He was the snake
man. Did I
man.
get it backwards?
Yeah, you got it a little bit.
Sorry, Jamie Reid Quarrell. He was Colony Surf. You got it.
Oh. Well, how about that?
But he doesn't have a speaking part in this, so they were able to double up.
I will say something else about the veil. I love the concept of the monitors showing the veil's viewpoint.
Oh, that's creepy as hell.
That is one of the best ideas in this episode.
Like, you can never get away from it. You can always see it coming for you.
Not only does it give you the false hope that you can somehow escape and run away fast enough, but it also shows exactly how screwed you are. Especially if you stop paying attention.
It's, again, demoralizing. Just like,
and also the dead flies flying around it.
Which is also a good indication of, this thing is closed, you better start running.
And I was surprised that the veil actually had a couple of really scary moments.
Jumping out of the goddamn grave.
Jumping out of the grave, yeah.
Holy shit.
No, it's because it was a silent monster that was built off of the Doctor's fear, and since we were all focused on the Doctor's perspective, I mean, that made the monster 50 times more creepy. I mean,
that was a very effective jump scare, though.
Goddamn right.
It caught me completely off guard, because I was thinking for a couple of parts of the episode, oh, here comes the veil.
And we just had a mini jump scare a couple of minutes before. With
here comes the monster.
With him
the one in
the
grave.
door and the veil being behind it, and he's like shutting it. Nope.
Yeah. Physics of a triangle, you lose. And then so it went the other way around, I guess.
The long way around.
The long way around. Very good. Very good.
Nice.
No, that's nice. Okay. I'll let you have that one. That's nice. I think it's one of the more effective monsters we've had this series.
I did have a little chuckle whenever they were doing the whole scene of him repeating over and over again. Every time he bursts out of the grave, I was like, that's funny. It loses its jump scare appeal when, it's fast
forward. The horror is
forward.
not supposed to come from the jump scare. The horror is supposed to come from what's happening to the Doctor.
Yeah. And the horror, of course, is that this is basically mental torture.
So how about that castle that he's in?
The castle? Oh, the castle, yes. Yeah, such an effective set, this.
Again.
This was meant to be a cheap episode, by the way. Like, this
It really was.
Yeah.
Well, they saved on actors, that's for sure.
But they spent so much on special effects that it kind of, like...
It's okay. They clearly pulled that budget back in the Zygon episodes.
Yeah.
Because of the transformations that clearly were cut back on because of budget.
Or in Sleep No More, that horrible effect they did for when the coffin was moving through the ship.
Yeah.
What I love about the castle, and this is a running theme with this episode, is that somehow Stephen Moffat managed to combine a bunch of stuff I absolutely love into this episode. Okay, so you have the horror that's like an It monster, basically. That's one of my favorite horror novels, but the castle itself sort of has shades of another of my favorite horror novels, House of Leaves, which is about this house that ends up having a giant labyrinth inside. It's a house that's bigger on the inside, and that is used for horror instead of childlike wonder from the TARDIS. But basically, the walls of the labyrinth keep shifting when you're inside the labyrinth of the house. Same thing as the castle. It shifts every now and again.
Yeah.
I think the shifting in the castle is more attuned to the Doctor's regeneration because it shifts after every confession.
Yeah.
And some of the regenerations come from after, I don't want to go.
Oh.
Huh?
I don't know about that. It's more. It's definitely shifting to his confessions.
Yeah, but I saw it as a mirror to it transforms whenever he makes a confession. The Doctor's regeneration comes after he makes a pretty
Oh
big
my god!
confession.
Do you know what this means? Kuchiri found mirror symbolism where I didn't. I've infected him.
Soon all. Wait, what's that in the corner of your eye? Is that a mirror?
Oh my god.
You've got something in the
Okay,
corner
so
of your eye.
interrupting this little thing, I just remembered something about the veil I wanted to say really fast.
Thank you. Go on.
So a problem that we've had is monsters doing jack shit this season. We had the Fisher King, the Sandmen were just really stupid in their concept. But this time we have a monster that is not only a really good design, but it's good that it doesn't do anything. It's good and it works that it's, just walking around all creepily like it is.
Yeah, but
Arguably, it does something in that it kills.
Oh,
the
it does
doctor.
something all right.
it kills the
Doctor.
Doctor. It does something that most other monsters cannot say they've done.
It
I
murders the
am
Doctor
saying,
again.
if you guys will stop harping on me as soon as I say something,
Sorry.
that it's in essence, it's just chasing the Doctor.
Harp.
Yeah.
It is just chasing the Doctor around, and
Ignore
then
him.
it happens to actually catch him.
Yeah. And this ties in with the veil being basically the concept
In
of
the
fear.
long run, yes, it does actually kill the Doctor, which is more than many, many other species and enemies can say, but it is still ultimately doing nothing. The only reason it catches the Doctor at all is because he is literally trapped between a rock and a hard place.
You guys
Yeah.
say.
Half the reason why this also works is the whole speech the Doctor had at the very start of the episode before he materializes in the teleport about how no matter how far you run, it's always there. You've run.
But the brilliance of that speech, I thought that second shadow was the veil too. It's not.
Well, yeah, but it mirrors the whole thing.
I assumed he was just talking about death the whole time.
I think the second shadow is him. Because when the second shadow is him coming out the teleporter, and then his life, the old life, is over.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's him before this one, putting the teleport things on his head, using the last of his energy to...
It is meant to be death, obviously, but it's a very specific personification of death. It's almost like rebirth.
Wow.
But one other thing I want to mention about this castle is just how goddamn gorgeous it looks.
Oh.
I would
yeah.
love to see this in game, like this whole castle and how
Actually,
it shifts.
Well, now that you mentioned it, Kuchiri, someone on Tumblr, Rainiac, I'll link you to the thing. You can put it down below. Someone on Tumblr compared the castle and the rebirth motifs of this episode to Dark Souls in Anne Orlando.
Oh,
God!
I got more of a Shadowgate feel from it because it was violent. I mean, Shadowgate isn't parts of Shadowgates are, but
I had more of a portal feel to the whole thing.
People have compared it to Myst too, so you're kind of on the mark with the adventure game thing. So
Can I just take a moment to salute one of the unsung heroes of this episode, the director?
Oh yeah,
good job,
Rachel Talalay. The episode direction throughout was just absolutely fantastic, and she talked before the episode aired about how difficult it was to direct an episode like this kind of nature of an episode, because usually they work on scenes, but sometimes individual shots were scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've seen it, of course, she's talking about that whole sequence where he's punching the wall over and over again.
Yep.
And the thing is, apparently, there were like most of the like shots that was filmed. Capaldi added in a bunch of notes that he thought would make the scenes better, because he's the one that's living through this.
Well, he has won an Oscar for directing, so yes. Or was it writing? But the point is, he knows the inner workings of how
I was going to
scripts
say,
work.
when did he direct?
No, he wrote a short story, didn't he? That a short presentation that won an Oscar.
Give me 2 seconds and I'll tell you. He was a director at some point.
Okay.
Excellent.
So the point is, he knows the inner workings of how these things work. So he knows what to add.
By the way, the
episode
same
direction.
director is also directing the next episode.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, well, she directed Dark Water and Death in Heaven. So on that basis, can we just have this director every time there's a season finale now? Please.
Oh, he did a whole bunch of stuff, Capaldi.
Yeah, he did.
But he wrote and directed Strictly Sinatra, if that helps.
Was that what he won the Oscar for?
No, he won an Oscar for Franz Kafka's It's a Wonderful Life.
That's it.
Friends.
I knew there was something.
Best
That's
live action short film.
That's an amazing title, I'll just say.
It is, isn't it? But so we've talked about how the Doctor was the only character in this episode. That's not quite true.
He's the only living character.
He's the only living character in this episode, but we did have.
Little
Don't
boy.
even start talking about the little boy.
He's
not a character.
He doesn't count. He doesn't have lines. He's not credited in the
He stands there, he looks cute, and then he runs away.
3 credited characters: the Doctor, the Veil, and Clara Oswald.
With quotation marks.
They did her perfectly.
Oh my God, didn't they?
But she got quotation
Shut up.
marks.
Shut up. They did
No,
her
she didn't.
perfectly.
Yes, she did.
In the end credits.
Well, in the script, she's quote unquote Clara. It's
Well, I haven't seen the script, but I'm talking about the end credits. It says Clara.
It's, the Doctor-
cares?
she shows up because the Doctor needed to hear what he needed to do and from words from her. So she's
Yeah.
actually a figment of his imagination, giving him the pushing hope.
Yes, but we've had characters not actually be there in flesh and blood and still be credited.
River Song in Name of the Doctor.
River, Danny.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
her
Cat was a
cameo
Cat was a bit
appearance.
gush. So I've gushed a lot about Clara over the years.
Yeah, this is Cat's time. Gush away.
I'm gonna let Cat gush for once. Go ahead.
Okay, so I love clever things. I love this whole idea of he's doing the same thing over and over and over without even realizing it until it's too late. I love the whole idea with his mental landscape is his TARDIS. It's where he feels the most safe. It's his place. He went out, he stole this TARDIS, he made it into his own, and even though it has changed over the years, it's changed with him. They're intertwined. So him having that as his mental, safe place, that's a great idea. The fact that they, physically showed his way of thinking is a great idea. And the fact that what's boosting him, the person, quote unquote person behind his motivation is his recently deceased friend, is a beautiful concept that is just amazingly done.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And I could add that way back when Into the Dalek came out, and I was writing stuff about it before I got into this whole Clara is the Dark Mirror of the Doctor nonsense, I was saying that Clara is basically his better half, and she's helping teach him how to be a good man, a good doctor, whatever.
I think by the end, Clara is what the Doctor wishes he could have been.
That's beautiful, but yeah. I mean, all through the episode, Clara is basically teaching the Doctor, literally being a teacher with the blackboard and telling him to ask the right questions and think the right things and motivating him. And, well, I'm just got to get to my write-up here again to see this stuff.
Oh, here comes the plug.
Okay, and this does mirror last week's episode a lot because the Doctor, he's faced between a rock and a hard place, as you said, and with Clara Oswald's help, Clara lets him be brave, and over a trillion doctors, however long it took, she tells him to get up and do the thing. Don't give in. Don't give up. You can do it. It's going to take a hell of a long time, but you can do it. I believe in you. And the Doctor is brave. He faces his raven, his fear, and he chooses to die and chip away at that wall every time. Over a billion, million cycles. Every time he chooses to say, the hell with it, and punch the wall and get killed because he knows eventually he'll break through. And
Her
his
image...
ideal...
Sorry, go ahead.
And his ideal image of Clara is the one motivating him to do that, to tell him not to give up. Clara inspires him. I love that.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
Clara, he is ready to give up in this episode. By the end of it all, he's ready to give up and he begs to be allowed to lose.
Because
can't I just lose just this once?
And it's amazing what he says. It's like, it doesn't matter if I win. You'll still be gone.
Oh, so this, my message didn't get posted to Sky for some reason, but it's doing the whole little loading thing, so... Someone did the math on how many doctors it took to break down that wall over 2 billion years.
Oh, we're back to this? Really?
243,500 billion doctors.
Well, that falls in line with the number of skulls in the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually, you have to imagine there just wouldn't be any water in the river left anymore.
Well,
it's just the skulls.
You could assume that it was a massive world around that castle, so, like... The skulls just kept on going off to the side, and
there were waves in the water, right? So that would probably
because at one point 2 skulls actually float up to the surface, and then bob straight back down.
Over 243 trillion doctors, like your math nerd said. He never once gives in. I love that.
Math nerd. Sorry.
The same person also calculated how many punches it took.
Oh, of course they did, but we're not going to hear about that because we're talking about Clara's cameo. So
I will say the fact that no matter when they showed Clara, her face was away from him, but then when he finally needed that final boost, we saw her looking straight into his eyes.
I'm going to be honest with you. When we first quote unquote saw Clara, and it's just the back of her head, and it's obviously a stand-in, I thought, was Jenna Coleman out of contract when this episode was filmed? What?
It was Sylvester McCoy in a wig.
Don't even start with that.
They turn around, it's Colin Baker.
Oh my god.
Man, Colin, you lost some weight.
Whips off the outfit, the coat is on underneath. I'm the Doctor now.
The best thing, I'm going to try and continue, but I'm finding it hard to because I'm corpsing isn't I'm saying this. The best thing about Clara's appearance is the build-up to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's built up superbly. You've got the blackboard, as you mentioned. You've got the Doctor constantly referring back to her. The bit where he makes the door open with his mind. And he says, "You see, Clara?" And there's a little look. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
God.
Because it's like he's about to show off to his companion. Then he realises, oh, she's not there.
Oops.
Yeah. And the portrait, of course. All of that. The best way to sum up Clara in this episode is gone but not forgotten.
Exactly.
Even after she's dead, she's still his inspiration. It's her memory that convinces him to keep fighting.
You could also call her the lingering psychosis of a man who's done too much and gone too far.
Yes, you could. You absolutely could.
Yes.
And some people have criticised, well, of course they have, because, criticism on the internet, but some people have criticised Clara having dialogue.
Yeah.
Because they say it lessens the impact of her last words in Face the Raven, or it doesn't actually make them her last words. I'm sorry, I disagree.
Yeah.
That's not really Clara.
Yeah, I have to disagree too.
Considering that it was in his mind shed, and that was just
it's a mental construct. It's a mental construct that just happens to look like Clara.
I can imagine David Tennant in my head saying, Farts! And does that make David Tennant's last words as the 10th Doctor farts? No.
No.
It's
Make
not
his
even
last
the
words as the
fact.
purple man farts? Probably.
It's not even the fact that they had her say something. It's the fact that the Doctor needed this. He could,
Yeah.
he could have the writing on the chalkboard, and that would, prompt him. But what is more effective? A couple of words on a chalkboard, or hearing the final words of your friend, one last time.
Absolutely. And another complaint that some of the internet had, particularly Twitter, was this use of the TARDIS in his mind.
Oh, of course.
And how it resembled Sherlock's mind palace.
Well, that's.
Oh, yeah.
They're both.
Except it doesn't resemble it at all, because Sherlock's mind palace is a completely different thing. His mind palace is he sees clues, and they manifest on the screen. Like words and numbers and things like that. That's his mind palace.
But it's still
This mind
Moffat's,
TARDIS is completely different.
it's still Moffat's obsession with stuff in your mind. But I do like how they show that the Doctor gets out most of the shit by doing random things that you will not expect. Like him dropping the pedal, dropping the eye thing. Like, he's doing all this randomly, he doesn't know why, and then when it's time for him to act, that's when he goes into the TARDIS in his mind and pieces it all together within a few seconds.
That was a bit like Sherlock, but it worked.
No, but see, I like how they do that. Like, they explain how the Doctor can get out of all these traps
If I can just intersect here, I'm a huge Alice in Wonderland fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, most people say that parts of Wonderland represent parts of Alice's mind, right? So the cat is her curiosity, the queen is her vanity, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this, I think the TARDIS represents pieces of Capaldi's mind, the Doctor's mind. So anytime he flicks a switch, that's a certain synapse, firing off, giving him these ideas. So while he's playing around with the control panel, while he's talking to, Clara, and trying to figure out what's happening, this is literally his mind going to work.
Yeah.
That's what I think the TARDIS here is supposed to represent. It's not a mind palace. You are literally seeing a physical representation of everything in the Doctor's mind firing in an instant.
Yeah, it's not a mind palace, which is why I'm surprised so many people went, "Oh, mind palace, rip-off."
Yeah.
Also, how can it be a rip-off when it's the same guy writing both?
Good question. Ask the internet.
Mm-hmm. No, but I do like how, he's running through. Oh, how did I escape? Well, I'll tell you. And I figured it out myself. Or, I'm nobody without an audience. Quick look at the camera.
Yeah, I did like that little breaking the fourth wall moment there.
He wasn't
That's the
even
right
breaking
way.
the fourth wall. He was looking at the Clara facsimile.
Well, sort of. He was also looking at the audience.
Well, yes, but within the context of the world, he was looking at Clara.
No,
But I liked it.
he turned away from her when he looked at her, then he turned around, then he looked at the camera, then he went to the console.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, one more thing before we finish talking about Clara. I love the use of the blackboard motif.
Yeah.
Not just because, obviously, teacher writing on the blackboard, it made sense. Also, it harks back to Listen and to Last Christmas. And, of course, in Last Christmas, there's a scene where the Doctor is trying to get through to Clara through the use of the blackboard in her mental landscape. Here, it's turned around. And I love it. But, Kat, you mentioned this was a very...
Mm-hmm.
Don't you start. Am I going to be the same one that's not talking about mirrors by the end of this? God damn it. Right. You mentioned that this was a very clever episode, Kat.
It is.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And the first time I watched it, my main feeling was one of confusion. I'll be honest.
Same. Up until the big reveal at the end. It's very confusing.
I wasn't quite sure what the hell was going on. And even during the reveal, I was like, why is it just repeating the same thing over and over again? Oh.
I had an inkling that wasn't the first time he was in the castle. Whenever
it's so clever because on the second watch, and I will confess, I've watched this episode in full now 3 times. And each time I keep picking up something new. So I compiled somewhat of a list of little hints and clues that I've spotted Some might not be true, but these are the things I've seen, and you see if you agree with me or not. Little clues that what's going on isn't quite what you expect when you first watch it. Straight away, we actually see the Doctor die, don't we, at the start?
Yep.
But you don't think it's him.
Nope.
You really don't.
You do hear Capaldi sort of go, ugh, as he collapses.
I thought it was like the random monster that we were going to find, which it's called the Veil.
I thought it was the Veil, or I thought it was the previous prisoner, which of course technically it was.
Hey!
Yeah.
But I thought like a different previous prisoner that had just given up. But no, it wasn't that at all. The teleporter, if you look at the teleporter, there's like gears on it, which resembles the clockwork nature of the confession dial and of the castle. And also, it somewhat resembles the TARDIS, which hinted that perhaps there was Gallifreyan involvement. Clara's portrait is described as ancient, I believe, and the paint is flaking away. And with hindsight, that was the first clue.
Yeah.
That 7,000 years have passed.
That was probably the first Doctor when he went through probably painted it.
Speaking of the first, well, I don't think he painted it. I think it was just there. Remember, this is a castle based on his fears.
Yeah.
And his fear is losing Clara, which of course has come to light, has come to pass. But anyway, speaking of the first Doctor to go through the castle, you realise the clothes that he lays out, that he finds laid out for him by the fire, are in fact his own clothes, the previous version left behind.
That means that the very first Doctor ran around naked.
Yep. In question mark underpants, hopefully.
Oh, God.
They missed the chance on question mark underpants!
That is fan art.
I agree, Kuchiri, but you know what? You want to know something else? Since I'm talking about the episode aping a lot of stuff that I like. If the first loop of him was running around with question mark underwear, and it's Ghosts and Goblins.
Oh my god! Yes!
Also, I should say that the Doctor having to do it over and over again until he gets it right. The entire castle is basically a massacre game.
I know we're not popular enough to have fan art, but screw it. If somebody's out there listening, make fan art of the Doctor running around the castle.
You know what?
My
friend Chris.
Spear. You have to give him like a sonic screwdriver shaped spear, like what Arthur throws. And goes.
More clues then. More clues that you might have picked up.
I have a friend named Chris. She does art. I am going to get her on it.
Oh my god!
Fantastic. Okay, so more clues that you might have picked up, and I would love to see if the audience that's listening to this actually picked these up as well or not. The Veil, of course, is repelled by the Doctor's confessions, which is a clue to this being inside the confession dial. I didn't twig this, even after he said it doesn't just want truth, it wants confession.
Truth or consequences.
That as well. And there's also a flashback, sort of, to, or a parallel with the Zygon inversion. Do you know when he's going around saying, I just wish I could lose, it's not fair? What was Bonnie complaining about?
Yeah, I caught that one.
And what did the Doctor completely lambast her for?
Oh, yeah.
Just shows how low he's become, but that's not a clue.
Don't think I didn't catch that. Mirroring.
You could even... Shut up. You could even... you could even go a step further with this and say that the reason why the confession dial contains the Doctor's confession is because he's giving it the confession in this episode.
Yeah.
We should take some time to reflect on this.
Cat, stop!
Oh, God.
When you... Sorry, just give me a moment.
You okay?
Wait, when you see a... Cat's fine! When you see a... It's me that's struggling. When you see a bird's eye view of the top of the castle, you can kind of see that parts of it resemble gears. So again, that's kind of a hint to the confession dial. And perhaps my favourite clue of all is the skull.
The skull.
Do you know who that skull was based off?
Yep.
Peter Capaldi himself.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that before I posted the link in the Skype chat, or?
Yeah, I had already read it.
I watched Doctor Who Extra, so yes, I knew. But
are you going to talk about that amazing crossfade?
Yeah, that amazing match cut crossfade where it shows the skull.
And I was like, holy shit!
It shows the skull, then it shows a zoom in on the Doctor's face, and of course, one the same person.
Holy
So
shit.
what's funny is how there's so many foreshadowings that the Doctor's going to die, like the skulls and the grave. I'm in 12. Well, who's in 12? Well,
No. That was the wall. The way out was in 12. I did honestly think that maybe I Am in 12 was something more complex. Like, I don't know, Clara's memory was in 12 as being Dr. 12.
I figured that it meant something was inside his mind.
But no, it wasn't that. It's the wall.
Yeah.
My God, it's the wall! No. It's,
but he still has to dig his grave to get to it, though.
it's not his grave.
Yeah.
It's just a grave. We don't know what's in the grave. Apart from the stone.
It still kind of does give the effect of him digging essentially his own grave, because it was really deep.
And the final clue, of course, is that wall itself, or what you can see beyond it. The Doctor imagines that the TARDIS is beyond the wall, because it says home, and that's what he imagines to be his home. You can actually see it through the wall, and this is a nice bit of misdirection. It's designed to throw you off the scent of Gallifrey, being the answer.
Nice.
Which is, of course, when you think about it, is exactly what it means by home. And that's all the clues and hints in the episode. It's a very, very clever episode indeed. I think it's the Blink of this generation.
People have said that.
I really think it is. And just to complete the brilliantness of it, that goddamn ending and that goddamn cliffhanger.
Oh, shit. We're on Gallifrey for the first time in ages. I mean, well, we've seen Gallifrey, but the Doctor hasn't actually really been on Gallifrey outside of a goddamn cup of soup painting since 1983.
So
Yeah.
when I watched this episode, I was up in Pennsylvania because we were there for Thanksgiving, and my parents actually sometimes watch the series with me. Side note, they thought that all the other episodes sucked and Face the Raven was the first good one this season.
Oh, wow.
But it was really funny because we're all watching this. Everybody's completely dead silent. And as soon as the Citadel pops up, I'm like, he's on Gallifrey! And my parents just started laughing at me.
Oh, my God. Holy shit.
It was somewhat similar to my reaction, actually, because I was just like, oh, well, this is what's going on. Oh my God, the Citadel!
I mean, I pegged it. I pegged it as soon as he came out, and the skies were like orange. I'm like, oh shit, this is Gallifrey. And yep, oh boy.
Again, that reveal was handled beautifully.
Man, well,
just a little pan shot.
Kat, at least you had a better experience watching Doctor Who than what I did with my family, where my uncle walked away 5 minutes into the episode because of the hand mines.
Oh God.
He told that story earlier, like in the series.
Yeah.
It's funny, but yeah, I punched the air when Gallifrey showed up.
You punched the air 243 trillion times.
This is also the first season of New Who that has actually shown, like, without like going through like an image or a painting, both Skaro and Gallifrey.
Yeah, that's wonderful, isn't it? We start with Skaro, we end with Gallifrey.
Nice.
What a bookend. What a bookend.
Well,
It's
can I just
actually
point
a mirror.
out,
What a hybrid right there.
ignoring you all, can I just point out...
I didn't say anything there.
Just let me talk.
Why?
Can I just point out that we all called this?
Well, to be fair...
Well, I don't know about Kat, because Kat wasn't on the review last week, but did you, Kat, be honest, did you expect it was going to be the Time Lords of Gallifrey?
No, not at all.
You were surprised?
To be fair,
Okay.
I called it because of Phil.
Okay, so we all called this last week, and now we can finally reveal what the censorship bleeps were covering. Roll it.
I took a guess from Phil Sanders, I think. He made a guess. It's pretty good. So you can bleep this if you like. The Time Lords.
Yes.
Is that what we all think?
Yes, I agree. I think this is entirely the work of the Time Lords.
Yeah, the last time the Doctor had... Going on to the next episode, the Doctor is going to be companionless and there won't be someone to play his companion. The last time something like this happened, it was a Gallifreyan story. So Time Lords.
There you have it.
Yeah.
We all said Time Lords to a man.
See, the thing with me is I don't like looking too hard into what's coming up, simply because if I do spoil something for myself, then it's like, oh, hey, I was right, woo! And
I
my
know
we
that
didn't.
feeling of
We
like,
weren't trying to spoil it,
mentality would
but
be on that and just that.
we were not trying to spoil it for ourselves. It's just that the confession dial, it could only be one of two races.
Yeah.
The Daleks or the Time Lords, and how the hell were the Daleks going to pick the damn thing up?
Yeah, but you also have to realize that I thought that the confession dial wasn't a big deal. I was actually surprised that it came back and
Who called it, by the way back in episode 2?
Well,
Yeah.
of course, it's this season's story arc, kind of.
Everyone's like, oh yeah, that confession dial, that's just a red herring and MacGuffin. It won't come in.
we can't
It
really
won't be that
talk about the
important.
series arc until next week because, well, I don't want to say anything prematurely until it wraps up.
Well, we don't know how it ends.
Exactly.
We do not know how it. I can't wait to see how it ends, but we don't know how it ends.
I don't know. I hope they don't fuck it up. We'll find out.
But yeah, the two punch of the cliffhanger was just absolutely fantastic. Unless you had seen BBC Publicity.
Oh, for
God.
God's sakes, are you kidding me?
Because the synopsis for Heaven Sent said, the Doctor faces one final task, and if he can make it through, Gallifrey is waiting, so thanks for that, guys.
Okay, at this point, I just had to ask, what the fuck?
It gets worse.
Are you kidding?
no.
The synopsis for the next episode, episode 12,
I don't want to hear it.
which
Says-
was
How can the
No, no.
Doctor and Clara get out of this one?
no, it doesn't. It's worse.
No, don't.
Which
don't tell me.
it doesn't give anything away because it gave away the ending to episode 11. It gives nothing about 12. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
But it came out the same day, the morning of episode 11 being out. Actually, no, sorry. What am I talking about? The synopsis came out 3 weeks before that. The advanced review was a week beforehand.
Holy shit.
3 weeks before episode 11 aired, the episode 12 synopsis said, the Doctor faces the Time Lords.
Found the
Thanks
poem.
for that, BBC.
Found the poem.
Thanks for that, BBC publicity.
Why? At this point, why doesn't the BBC just leak the scripts? I mean, fucking, they don't care. They're like, hey, here's all this shit that's gonna happen.
I'm just imagining in my head right now that one of those big "You Tried" golden stars.
Oh my god, put it up.
It's like
Put
the
it up right
BBC found a gun and decided to shoot themselves in the foot.
Here's another preview on another website that what was apparently said during one of the press conferences before the season came out. For episode 11 was an episode that leapt out as "Why haven't we done this already?" So this is the Doctor who we should be doing this immediately, and then Sarah Dollar walk in with the finalized script, and it was even. Oh wait, no, that was episode 10. For 11 and 12, it was a challenge. I won't say anything else because it would be too spoilery, but when you watch it, you're going to ask how exactly the Doctor and Clara are going to pull it off.
Well,
That was
technically, Clara was in episode 11.
It's not spoiling
I also
too
found-
much.
I also found the poem that I saw 1,000 times over.
Okay.
Is it a sad song? Nothing is sad until it's over, then everything is. What is it called? I think it's called Clara. Tell me about her.
Sorry. So the second part of the cliffhanger, and the one that's got most people talking. Well, actually, no, Gallifrey had a lot of people talking, but
Oh yeah.
the hybrid is me.
Play on words. It's Lady Me. Well, there you
Do
go.
we think the hybrid is me, Lady Me, or me, the Doctor?
I think it's probably some hidden third option that we don't know.
Oh God! If it turns out to be Clara,
I mean, the Clara was my guess back in episode 2.
if it turns out to be Clara or something else, that would be.
I think it is the Doctor to them, and that they misinterpreted it again as being the Doctor. Like how before
could
they thought
be.
it was a Time Lord Dalek hybrid, and he, you know, everybody thinks that, and he says no, that can't be possible. The Dalek.
Can I just say that I was just thinking of, like, mentally in my head, just someone punching through evolution of the Daleks like it never existed.
Oh, Jesus.
When he said nothing is how. But people are saying, well, doesn't that contradict that episode? No, because the whole point of that is they hated the hybrid Dalek. They executed the hybrid Dalek. It was an abomination to them, so they killed it. So it fits.
Pretty much, I think this is just fear mongering. They think the Doctor is the hybrid, but he is not.
And who was he talking to?
Whoever is keeping tabs with the dial that heard all.
Mental Clara, I don't know.
No.
Well, no, because he said, you can probably still hear me.
whoever. Clearly,
you've got
someone was
prophecy
listening
wrong.
in on the dial because they were waiting for him to say his confessions.
I think we may get that clarified next time.
Probably the
Uh,
president of the Time Lords.
It could be.
Isn't he dead?
No, there's like 1,000 presidents. Like,
Hold that thought, Kat. Hold that thought.
there's like 1,000 presidents. Hell,
Anyway,
the
we
Doctor
should probably
himself
move-
was president once.
We should probably wrap this up. So
I was
I know
talking specifically about the dude from the one where the Master.
Wrestle on from End of Time. As far as we know,
Yeah, sure.
he's gone, but we don't know for certain.
Pierce Brosnan, right? He was Pierce Brosnan.
No, that was.
No, Timothy
God.
Dalton. Timothy
Hey, we
Dalton.
came back to it.
Oh God.
I would love him to be in Doctor Who as a Time Lord, but no. It hasn't happened yet. So, yeah, let's finish this off. I think I know what you're going to say, but let's give me your overall thoughts on Heaven Sent. Who wants to
I'll
start?
do it. Okay. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. Very bold. It's a little slow on your first watch, but once you get the twist and you rewatch it, it really works. I loved the Clara stuff. I loved the Doctor stuff. I loved the punching the wall and all the symbols and that was rampant in that. This is definitely top 2 for me for Series 9. I don't know if it's either going to be this or Face the Raven at number 1, but we'll find out when I do my rewatch.
Okay. Kuchiri.
Easily probably the best episode of the series thus far. However, I would not like to see them do this again. I think this is one of those things that probably done once, maybe for the next Doctor they'll try something else again with this, but I wouldn't want to see another episode like this for a while, but still one of the best of this season.
I think that's fair. Kat?
What the hell was this writing last season? Why can't we have it this good, like, every time? Because this is all I want, Moffat. I want some cleverness. I want interesting ideas. I want an interesting storyline for me to follow. I don't want a super complicated puzzle box with somebody popping up every episode going, "Wahahaha." This was perfect for me. Thank you.
Yeah. And I basically just end up repeating what you've all said, but I thought this was absolutely fantastic. The first time, I wasn't sure what I just watched. I went back and watched it again. It just clicked for me. This really is, I believe, the closest we're going to get to Blink. It's just that good. And it's layered, it's clever, it's genius. Remember how we said that Sleep No More was somewhat genius?
I did.
This knocks it into this. All right. Remember how 3 of us said that Sleep No More was kind of genius?
It's in my top 3.
Yeah, well, it may still be, but this surpasses it for me
Oh yeah, totally.
in terms of how clever it is, and the fact it does foreshadowing, and it doesn't do it in such a way that completely ruins the episode, unlike Before the Flood.
Which
This does
I
it
mentioned,
right.
Which I mentioned to Rainiac. You can now headcanon Before the Flood's Beethoven opening as being in the Doctor's TARDIS Mind Palace.
Yes, you can, which instantly improves that part of the episode.
Same with the Listen cold open.
No, that was actually his TARDIS.
Yeah.
That wasn't the Mind Palace, that was actually his TARDIS, and he was just monologuing for the audience. But yeah, it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic, and it's set up a hell of a foundation. See what I did there? For the next episode. Hellbent.
Hellbent.
Would you say the Doctor angry at the Time Lords make him hellbent?
You can actually say that now without being censored. Also, I can tell you to piss off for saying that now. But no, this looks. Oh my god!
Well,
I don't know what I'm witnessing.
I don't know why the Time Lords keep on trying to fuck with them. I mean, how many times does he have to punish them before they realize, oh, let's not kill a companion. Let's not.
Kuchiri, they are the Time Lords.
Well,
they are
technically,
basically
they didn't
hubris
kill
personified.
Clara. That was her trying to be the Doctor that killed her. So
That was an unintended consequence,
Yeah.
we think.
I can almost just imagine like someone watching that situation and seeing Clara die and being like, "Oh shit, you guys better hope he doesn't get out."
Yeah, why was it thrown out like the middle of like the street? By the way, like
What, just
his
just
dial.
leaving her there?
Yeah, his dial is like outside the Citadel.
I'm telling you, they were going to the city, somebody dropped it, and now they're in deep shit.
I mean,
That would be quite funny.
I can actually see. No, Junior, why don't you lock him out of the box? I've been wanting to do this for years. Tosses dial up, hits it with the baseball bat, flies out of the city, and we'll find it later.
Okay, that's pretty good. Quite literally knocking it out the park.
Oh my god.
I mean, my headcanon now is you've just got someone in charge, sometime on charge of supervising this whole experiment inside the confession door. It's like, well, we're fine as long as the companion doesn't die. Then Clara gets killed. Well, shit. and then he gets through. It's like, well, I hope he doesn't break through that wall. And then he breaks through the wall. I quit. I resign my commission as a Time Lord.
Watching in that case, because then they would have stopped him from breaking through the wall.
No. What someone explained like why this whole thing happened. They predestined this whole thing as a trap, to where when the Doctor finally got to the wall, he was going to realize there was no hope, and the only way he was going to get out was to,
It was intended as a trap, the same way that the crack in Time of the Doctor was intended as a trap he couldn't possibly escape from.
Yeah.
In that case, he escaped from it
with to do with somebody watching him?
But he's not being watched. He's being listened to.
Well, somebody must be listening to it, because he says you can probably still hear me, but we don't know who that is, and as I said, that will probably be clarified.
The reason why that last room isn't set to reset was because they didn't think they will have to reset that room.
That's what I just said.
Yeah,
somebody
that's
is
fair
not
enough.
watching him. They're only listening to him, because otherwise they would have fixed the room as soon as he started.
But Kat, the whole point is that whether he did it the way they intended or the way he actually did it, which was to punch through the wall over 2 million years, the goal was to get him through that wall onto Gallifrey.
I don't think.
Admittedly, the goal was to get him to admit about the hybrid so he could get to Gallifrey. They presumed they could catch him and kill him. It's happened a different way. He's still on Gallifrey. They can still extract, or they believe they can extract, the information out of him. To which I say good luck with that, by the way, but that's what I think they believe.
It's a killer puzzle bot destined to scare me to death, and I'm trapped inside it. It must be Christmas.
That's the episode we just talked about. We're talking about the next one now.
That they just wanted to put him into a box and try to get him to talk about what the heck the hybrid was. And if he didn't, he would be stuck in there forever. And if he did, he would be stuck in there forever.
Let's be entirely honest. This is the Time Lords we're talking about. They're not exactly known for their humility. They're known for being grandiose, arrogant, full of hubris. That's kind of their thing.
It's the Doctor. By now they have to know he's the Doctor.
No, they're pretty dumb in that respect, the Time Lords.
They keep forgetting what he can do and what he's gotten
They keep underestimating him. But if we can just touch on what the trailer actually showed. I think we all saw the trailer. I'm talking about the next time trailer, not the TV teaser, which, again, was spoiler central.
I'm not sure which I saw, because they did not show a trailer right after the episode. But my parents like to watch the show that comes on after that on BBC.
They showed a trailer after the credits.
It wasn't after the credits. It immediately went into the season finale of The Last Kingdom, I think it's called. And my parents watched that. But during a commercial break, they had a trailer come up for the next episode.
That might have been the TV teaser.
Might have been.
Alright, well, I'm talking about the actual trailer. I can always link it to you later if you want to see it. It's not spoilery.
I'm going to type out something really fast to you in a different chat just to be sure.
Okay, it's not spoilery, this particular trailer. So things that it shows... Oh, where do I begin? Ashilda is back. Ohyla is back.
Ohyla, the woman that...
Claire Higgins from Magician's Apprentice, yeah. The Sisterhood of Khan.
Yeah.
And the Sisterhood is actually behind her in that shot, so the Sisterhood in general is back, but Ohyla in particular is back. The General is back! For the Day of the Doctor.
Oh, God. All 12 of them are here. No, all 13.
That was actually him that said that.
Wait, no, shit.
No. So we've got lots of returning characters. We've got yeah, Kat, that's the same trailer.
Okay, just checking.
That's the same trailer. And then we've got the most intriguing figure of all, the President. And we don't know who this is. We know it's the President, obviously, played by Donald Sumpter, who is going to be more familiar to Game of Thrones fans as Maester Luwin.
Oh my god.
A very distinguished English actor again, and if they couldn't get Timothy Dalton back, this guy's a pretty good replacement.
They just keep pulling from Throne Game.
The question
Wait,
is this...
hold on. Does this mean that we're going to have George R.R. Martin write an episode? Because
Oh
if
my God.
so,
George R. R. Martin writes an episode.
Rip companions. Rip companions.
And that's not even counting the biggest surprise / shock / whatever of the trailer, a regeneration.
Well, we're on a planet of goddamn time.
Yeah, we're on Gallifrey. I mean, people are going, oh my God, the Doctors regenerate. Not necessarily. It could be a trip regeneration like in Journey's End, Doctor's Journey's End. It could be one of the many Time Lords regenerates. It could be, and I don't know that they're in it, by the way, so this is not a spoiler. I hope it's not Missy.
It could be. Well, we know it's not because. Can we talk about the stuff that's been confirmed for Christmas?
No. You're not allowed to talk about anything except for the episode. We've already covered this.
That's you told.
Well,
I know what he's getting at, and he's basically hinting that there's one particular character who I will not mention.
No. The Doctor? The Doctor's in the Christmas episode.
What did I just say?
What
did I just say?
Okay, that's not that big of a spoiler that the Doctor's in the next episode.
Yes, but we just said don't talk about things other than the episode in question.
So, my parents are not huge Doctor Who fans. For a long time, for some reason, my dad thought that the Clara who died in Face the Raven was the Clara from, what was the name of the Doctor that she went into the Doctor's timeline?
Yeah, it could have been an echo.
He absolutely thought that she was going to be fine and she had not actually died, and I had to explain to him, yes, she actually died. And even they did not think that the Doctor was regenerating, because Capaldi only had 2 seasons.
That's Clara Prime, the best way to refer to her.
Yes.
The original Clara.
I basically
Clara
explained
Prime.
to them it's like if you took a file on a computer, copy-pasted places, and some of them got corrupted.
Speaking of Prime, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention is that the Doctor now joins Superboy Prime in beings who have punched their way out of a dimension.
I don't believe this.
Literally. So the Doctor and Superboy Prime are now in a very exclusive club. The trailer looks absolutely fantastic. I just hope, because we've had series finales that look fantastic in the trailer, and then they don't quite measure up. But the level of writing this season has been absolutely phenomenal. I can't even say it. Phenomenal. They can't mess this up.
Phenomenal.
They can't mess this. They can't mess this up, can they?
Oh, trust me, they still can.
Can they? As a tumbleweed rolls past.
Yeah,
no,
they can fuck it up, but I don't think they will.
It's possible they mess it up, but I'm choosing to keep the faith. And the very fact that we're going to be on Gallifrey for the first time in years, that's enough to keep my interest immediately. Then you throw in the returning characters, the intrigue about the hybrid, the intrigue about the regeneration, and what the hell is going on with that.
Then you throw in the fact it's an hour and 5 minutes long.
Yeah, and you throw in the fact I'm not going to be able to see it live. Yeah, I'm going out for a family meal on that night. So I'll either have to watch it, I'll record it, obviously, and I'll either watch it that night when I come back, or if it's too late to do that, I will watch it the following morning. I'm not missing it. I am not missing it. I am seeing it one way or another. I am hell-bent on seeing Hell-Bent.
Oh, I missed the wedding of River Song when it was live because I had to go to a wedding. How about that?
Sadly you didn't miss too much. But yeah, that was a hell of an episode.
Yep. And next week will be a hell of an episode too.
Next week will be a hell of an episode too. We will all find out when we come together to review the final episode of the series. I can't believe we're here already, guys. Episode 12, Hell-Bent. So join us for that next week. All that remains is to thank my guests, Freezing Inferno, Kuchiri, and Kat.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And join us next week when we review the season finale, Hell-Bent. Until then, bye for now.
Rainiac is going to talk about mirrors in the next episode.
We guarantee it.
Until then, bye for now.